How many people do we have in commercial collections or in accounts receivable that they deal with other businesses? And how many people do we have for consumer? I'm trying to get an idea. Anyone here deal with commercial collections, business to business? Okay, what about consumers dealing with the public as far as accounts receivable?
I do both.
You do both? What kind of business are you in? The gift shop? Or something? Okay. So you have to deal with those. And how many people have companies that carry accounts receivable that are in here? Pretty much everybody? Okay. So what we're going to be talking about is your accounts receivable and how we can effectively collect your accounts receivable. And this is going to be a very informal presentation. If you have questions as I'm going along, if you want to ask questions, just raise your hand, let me know. And if there was a couple of people that were wanting to come in, but I'm going to go ahead and get started.
We do have a few issues, just a few.
There's always sitting there.
Who is?
Always sitting right here.
With my, she's tiny.
Yeah. I don't know if she just walked on to me.
Okay. Well, let me just get myself a little away from the wall.
Yeah.
And I'll sit right here. My soda, okay, right now.
That's fine. Large, is okay?
Fine. I can So how's Colorado?
Wonderful.
When did you leave?
I left, she's just mentioned Colorado. I left a few months ago. My husband's also in the financial industry, the banking industry for 18 years. He's now working at a credit union in Colorado Springs.
Oh, my
Unfortunately, huh?
My brother and his family are there.
Oh, well,
I'll have to
we'll
give you that
visit.
information, yeah.
But anyway, I'm working my business over there. I'm kind of expanding in it, but I'm also coming back and forth here. I still have my company here at home. Like this week, I'm split in 2 different areas. It's a wonderful place to expand a business. First thing we want to do is we're going to start with this first page here. This is just a little something I put up here. I think it's real cute. Some of it has a lot of truth to it. Some people say, rob Peter to pay Paul, and that's what we want to try to see if we can figure out how we don't do that in our own company. First of all, we're going to talk about benefits, reasons to give credit, and reasons not to give credit. A lot of times if you don't give credit, you're not going to be able to make the sale. And if you don't give credit, somebody down the street is also going to sell them. I mean, they're going to sell them on 30 days or whatever. And that is a very attractive thing that a lot of people look at. If they got to pay some money up front, they're going to go somewhere else if they have to do that. So we do like to do that to increase our sales and our profits, also for convenience. If you're trying to deliver merchandise to a warehouse, there's no one there to sign a check. There may be another home office that handles the accounts receivable or handles the accounts payable. So that's for convenience. There are going to be some areas that you're going to be making notes on. You might want to make sure that your pen writes. If they don't, I do have some extra pens up here. Come in. Come in.
I didn't like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I like you out? I'm sorry. Okay, all y'all split you up.
All right.
Don't be a fool in here.
I'll be on the front row. Everybody here? I was told that somebody was there, but I don't see it.
Elvis is there, and I don't know if she can come back. She's just one of those calls. She comes. Oh, yeah. Stay in my book. Here's your handout.
Technical.
Let's see. Well, now on this chair.
Some of the reasons not to give credit is because they have a poor payment history. If they typically pay somebody 90 days, 100 days slow, or they've had bankruptcies or that type of thing, there's no capital, they've got $2,000, that they're putting into their business, but they want you to extend 10,000. If the business goes bad, who's going to lose? You know, you put 10,000, they put 2,000, so they're definitely not going to have any kind of loyalty to pay you back. So that's one thing you want to look at as far as capital. Insufficient information. If you do not know who you're selling, then you could be giving your money away. And we all work too hard to be in business to just give people our money, and that's basically what you end up doing if you're not checking out who you're selling. One question I want to ask everybody is, why is it harder? I'm sure you've heard this before. Why is it harder to collect a receivable as it approaches 90 days out? Does anybody have any kind of idea of why they say that? Linda?
They were going to pay you, they would have done it before.
That could be true. That's true. Another reason why is that they don't think you take your credit policy seriously. So the longer it ages, they figure, well, you've waited 90 days already, so what's another 60 days? The other reason why is they may possibly be able to pay you if you collect your accounts within 10 days. If you give a 30-day credit line, and 10 days later you're on the phone calling them, you might be able to get your money at that point. But if you wait until it's 60 days old, that business, your customer, may be going into a cash flow period that could last 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, even a year. And the longer that you wait, the chances are of running into their cash flow problem becomes a little bit more emphasized. So the quicker you can collect your accounts receivable, and if you get 30 days, it's due in 30 days. That money is yours, and you've got to kind of get that in your mind. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call someone, because it's yours. And once you understand that that's money that you can collect, that it belongs to you, not to them, then you'll be a little bit braver to pick up the phone and call. And once you pick up the phone once, you can get on a roll. You can call everybody. We're going to kind of go over a little bit. I think we have y'all have something called the credit policy in your flyer there. Credit policy basically gives you, this is not going to be on the chart here, we're going to talk about this in just a second, but credit policy basically would include, okay. Oh, okay, well, you'll have,
And it's a little different than what we thought. And it is not going to be about credit management.
accounts receivable, commercial. If you extend credit to other businesses or to consumers, then this is what this is about.
Okay.
That's why I was kind of making sure I had an idea of who all was in here earlier.
Well, yeah, so that's what she went over when she was going over the program.
Okay.
The rules changed. Thank you.
I think there needs to be notes on the doors.
Yeah, she just...
Everybody's wondering out the hallways. If you're going to extend credit to your customer, the first thing that you want to do, though, is design a credit policy. It's better to have it in writing. That way your salespeople do not question whether or not your terms are 30 days or 60 days. Your customer also understands that you have a 30-day policy or a 15-day policy, whatever the case may be. You first need to analyze your business to see what is the most that you can actually extend yourself. If you're in the magazine industry, publishing industry, then your customer, if you wait till 30 days or even 60 days, they have an opportunity to say that the ad didn't work. So if you can change your terms to 10 days, even though they may set it up in 30 days to pay you, if you set it up in 10 days, you still have an excuse to call them when it's 15, 20 days old to find out when they're going to pay you. And they may say, well, I set it up for 30 days, which is the norm, but it still gives you that little bit of an edge when you're in that type of industry where you don't actually have a product. Anytime you're dealing with advertising, it's best to try to collect your money right as soon as possible. So you want to make sure that you have your invoices and your statement, have your terms clearly visible, highlighted, do something to make it stand out so they won't say, I didn't know what your terms were. Also make sure that you have your POs if there's a company that you're dealing with, if anybody deals with a state. You want to make sure you collect all your other receivables pretty quick because the state's going to hang on to your money a lot of times for 90 days or 120 days, but they also require POs. So if you're dealing with a customer that requires POs in order to get payment, make sure that you have it on your invoice. Make sure that you have the correct billing company. You may be dealing with a location that is actually just a branch of a mother location, so you need to make sure that you're sending your bill to the right way, the right address. Also, interest. What type of interest are you going to charge on delinquencies? That also needs to be on your statements as well as your credit applications. In Louisiana, the norm is 1.5%. That's usually after invoices are 30 days past due. You may not collect the interest because people just don't pay interest. But it gets their attention, especially when they get a separate invoice for interest. It's a good negotiating tool. If there's $100 worth of interest on an account, then you can always say, well, I'll tell you what, if you'll go ahead and send me a check today, then we'll split the interest. You only have to pay 50 and I'll credit for you for the other. Or you may decide to go ahead and get rid of the whole interest, but at least it gets their attention, and it is a good negotiating tool. Find out if you're going to do credit cards. This is all part of your credit policy. Are you going to accept MasterCard or Visa or something like that and decide what kind of fee are you going to charge? Are you going to do a 5% processing fee or 3%? And some salespeople have a little problem with talking about the processing fee. Whenever I'm trying to collect through a credit card, which I usually do, if an account is in the rears, they have no other income, I'll say, I got a credit card, There is a small 5% processing fee. It's one of those little catches of $99.95, not $100. If you say small processing fee, they go, oh, that's not too bad. Some salespeople do have a problem. They'll say, well, you have to pay 5% processing fee. That's not the way to say it. You're saying it in a kind of a negative manner, whereas if you say they're saving money by putting it on their credit card and only paying 5%, it's perceived a little bit differently, like you're trying to help them. The other thing that you want to include on in your credit policy is the credit application. Have your salespeople always turn in a credit application. Know who you're selling. Know as much as you can about them. A lot of people, I have them tell me that they've gotten credit applications but they don't process them. So you are basically just, going with your eyes open that this person's not going to pay you, and they probably think that you're not going to process their application. They will put accounts on there that they pay slow. In fact, I've called somebody and for reference, and they've actually laughed at me. And I said, why are you laughing? They said, well, because I just turned them over and I'm suing them for $60,000. And they actually listed me as a creditor. I said, yes, they did. But he probably thought we weren't going to check it out. So always get a credit application. It does have some beneficial information. If you're in the business that has to have contracts, make sure that your salespeople get a contract. Because if something happens, you don't have any kind of recourse. BOD accounts. Some clients may not want you to check their ID every single time a driver delivers or they come pick up. Have some kind of form made up that has their signature with their driver's license and a place for their Social Security. Even though they may not give it to you, there's a place there, and you can file it. That way, if you ever have a COD check, then you will have the license number that you can turn in. District Attorney's Office won't touch it unless you have some kind of information that's identifying the person that wrote the check. And by the way, the DA's offices, they're very helpful as long as they don't have to put a lot of people in jail. They do have consistent people that go to the sheriff's out to collect your bad check. But if you do it on the weekend, they're probably not going to do it because the jails are full. I've had that experience before. But they do a good job of collecting accounts too, as far as your mix-up checks. Also, you want to put order approval. If you have a credit manager or someone that is maintaining your accounts receivable, make sure that your salespeople run that past them to have it checked out. Make sure the credit policy is in place. Your credit application has been processed and analyzed, and the account has an open terms with you. That's part of your credit policy. You need to enforce that with your salespeople. In fact, how many people do have salespeople here that work with them, salespeople? In the sales policy, We all know sometimes that it may be a problem with an NSF check. I had a case where somebody actually got their accounts froze because their debit card had gotten stolen. That is a possibility. Some things like that, I usually give them about 2 chances, and that's the third try. I say, well, it is our policy. After the 30 NSF check, that your account would have to be cash. And it needs to be in writing again. Let your salespeople know, that all your employees know that we have a credit policy and this is the guideline. It kind of takes your salesperson out of the picture, and this is something that they have to do. This is company policy. So their customers a little bit more in tune to understanding why the salesperson has to do that. Some of the characteristics as far as what is being considered for credit. I know that we have a lot of home-based businesses these days, and there's nothing wrong with home-based business, but some of the things that you can look at when extending credit is, do they have a commercial building? Or if they are a home-based business, how long have they been in business? If it's a contractor that's been in business for 10 years, then he's probably a pretty stable, established company. Those are some of the things. You don't want somebody that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. Somebody from a scrapbook business, or Hills or something like that. They may, like it today and never have a class, and you've already sold them or advertised, or whatever the case may be, and here they're gone. They decide they don't like it anymore. So just be careful who you're extending credit to. The other thing is you want to make sure that you get 3 business trade references. Not a trade reference from mom and pop and my cousin or a friend. Make sure that they use their business name when they're giving their references. To design a credit application, this is going to be the next page that we're looking at. Some of the things that you can put on your credit application, that you need to put on your credit application, is your address, your company's name. So if you ever have to take this to court, you're going to have something identifying that client with your company. Your terms, your interest charges, have your attorney look over a personal guarantee. The personal guarantee will basically provide you with an alternative if the corporation does fail. Then if you have a personal guarantee, which means that person is personally liable for that debt, then you can go after them. Okay? With proprietorship, you can also file personally against them. If it's a corporation, a lot of times they're just going to scratch through it. They'll mark it up, saying I'm not going to do it. Corporations really don't do that. Every once in a while, though, you do. So if you have it on your application, you do have a chance of getting a personal guarantee. Somebody there's stupid enough to do it. I always have it on there. The company structure, just as I talked about, the corporation, whether it's an LLC with proprietorship, so that you will know when you're extending credit, can you file against them personally. Owners and officers of the company, try to cram as much information as you can in there. Try to get their address. Sometimes many times they'll put their home address, and they'll put their phone number. They may not put their social security number, so the other alternative is putting their driver's license number on there. And really that's nothing abnormal about that. You go to Walmart, you go to a discount store, you have to show your driver's license to them. And I use that. I'll tell somebody, and they say, well, I don't like giving anybody my driver's license number. I say, well, you have to show it at Walmart. It's no different. So, you've got to kind of protect yourself when you're trying to get credit. I also try to get bank references and at least 3, possibly 5 trade references, and give them an area for that. Also, get a witness to your personal guarantee. And financial information, some businesses will give that out. Some people don't like to do that. The way I handle it is I give the credit application and I'll say, and it's your most current financial statement if available. You may get it, you may not, but it does come in handy. And when you're looking at I'm going to go into your financial statements in just a minute. We're going to also learn how to analyze a credit application in a few minutes. Establish a relationship. This is a kind of a fun thing. It's a good sales tool for your salespeople. You can get a package, like an envelope, a brown envelope. You can put promotional items. You can put pins in there, pads, a little neon sign with your company's phone number on. They can put it on the telephone. It kind of it's real attractive. They'll see it every time they pick up the phone. You can slip a credit application in there. It's just an easier tool of slipping that credit application in for your salespeople, because they a lot of times don't feel comfortable asking for somebody to fill out a credit application. But this is a little goodie package that you can use. Know your customer. When I deal with credit, if I can't seem to get enough information on the credit application, I will call the account. I will ask them questions. I'll ask them how long have you been in this business? If they just started, I said, how long? What made you get into the business? Are you familiar with this type of industry? You wouldn't believe some of the people that get into business not knowing a thing about what they're doing. They have never sold a widget or they've never sold a piece of clothing or anything. And so that's real important to know how much do they know about the business. Also, this gives you an opportunity whenever you call them to explain your terms verbally. And you can kind of put the ball in their court. You can say, well, we know we offer 30-day terms. Do you have a problem with that? In their mind, they may be thinking 60 days. But you can ask them, do you have a problem with 30 days? And they can say no. So when it does become a little lengthy, you say, we discussed this over the phone, that our terms are 30 days. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your company, and you can. That's the way you need to let your customers know. Holiday greetings, that's kind of a nice little thing. If you have a small company and you have the time, which I know is real hard to do, but if you have deliveries that you make, or anybody in here in the delivery business, or actually deliver a bill of lading or a shipping copy, the nice thing that you can do is add little holiday stickers, little Christmas tree, happy holidays, or I would used to stick peppermints on mine and make sure that you cover everybody that you know in that business if you're going to send peppermints, because otherwise you'll get a call from somebody saying, I didn't get mine. I also give the little, like when St. Patrick's Day comes along, I'll actually cut out a little St. Patrick's thing and I'll stick it on the billing copy. And it breaks the ice. It makes them feel like you're their friend, and they think about you during bill time, because you're not their banker, but yet you are extending something a little bit more personal to them. Because a lot of manufacturers, a lot of companies don't do that for them, and they do remember that. That's how you establish a relationship. Now we're going to go into the credit analysis end of it. One of the most confusing things for companies that are extending credit is dealing with someone that has never opened a business before. They have no business trade references. That is not necessarily a bad thing. You can still grant credit based on the information that you have that they can give you. Maybe they have been a manager of this particular industry for 10 years. They know the business inside and out, but they've never had a business of their own. That's one of the good things to look at whenever you're trying to analyze an account. You can ask them for a personal financial statement. Some salespeople will tell you, what does their personal financial statement have to do with their business? And you're trying to help your salesperson, but they don't actually see that. They cannot visualize that you're trying to do that. If they are trying to get credit from other vendors, having a personal financial statement, or even something from the credit bureau showing that they pay their bills on time personally, and a lot of times that will they'll flow over into their company, and it gives you a characterization of that customer. It's not always the case, but it will help you. Also, personal financial statement will tell you, do they own their home or do they rent it? If they have just come into town and they're renting, and they haven't been here very long, they could be here today, gone tomorrow. But if they own their home, then most times they are going to stay here for a while. So they're not going to fly-by-night type person. Also, how many vehicles do they have? Do they have 2 car notes? Do they have 1 car note? Do they have a boat on Falls River? Do they have, what is their lifestyle? And I'm going to kind of give you a comparison of the 2 types of situations. Let's say you have somebody that makes $60,000 a year. You have one customer that does have a boat. They have 2 car notes. They have no CDs. They have they're not financially stable, but yet you have somebody else that has $60,000 and makes $60,000 a year. They only have 1 car note. They do have CDs. They have a good checking account. They have something to fall back on. Even though these people make the same amount of money a year, you can see the difference between how they handle their business. And so that kind of gives you a little information. And all that comes off of a personal financial statement. So, and there's nothing wrong with asking it. You know, if they're wanting credit, they're going to need something. If they're going to go asking for credit from a bank, the bank's going to ask them for it too. They've got to have it. So there's no reason why they can't provide that information to you.
You have to call a bank when you're
Oh yes, I do. And if I can't get enough information from the person in the credit department or the loan department from the bank, I'll ask for the officer of that account.
what would they do?
They will tell you that they've known these people for 5 years and they've had another business prior to this. This is just some of the things. They'll say, oh, we've done this with them for 15 years, even though this business is only 2 years old or a year old. They just started this business. We've known them for a long time. They'll say that they have a medium 3 average. This is the good part. Medium 3 average in the bank means they may have $300, okay? Or they may have a medium 4, which may mean $4,000, $5,000 in the bank. Of course, the higher the number goes, 5 digit, 6 digit, and the better off you are as far as knowing what they have on average balance. The thing that you've got to look at on that, though, is in the loan area. Let's say they have a 5-digit number, medium 5. Okay, that can mean 30,000, 50,000, something like that. Look at their loans, though, because if they have a 5-digit loan, then most likely they owe it almost as much as they have in the bank. But they're showing that, and so you can't look at just one side of it. You've got to look at both ends. Do they own it? Somebody can go and borrow $100,000 from the bank and say, I have that much cash on hand, which looks good. Then you got to look at the liabilities. They also owe for that $100,000. If you get a financial statement that has a 2-to-1 ratio, meaning if they have $100,000 in assets and they owe only $50,000, that's good. You know, they actually own quite a bit of their assets. The higher the liabilities get, the more they owe. If it's $85,000, $90,000 that they owe, they're getting close to owning. You know, they can't really depend on their assets to carry them through the hard times. I had one salesperson that told me, they sent me a balance sheet, $17 million. This is a big company, $17 million. Well, I get it, and I look at the liabilities, which is $16 million. So it's not really that great of a financial statement. You know, it looks good up front if you're just looking at just one side of it. So always make sure you look at there's always 2 sides to every story. So make sure you look at both of them.
I have a question. I don't have my account. I don't have title company. So I work directly just with attorneys. 99% of my work is with attorneys. I bill them with every title that we do, we bill them.
Mm-hmm.
They run, that never pay me. You understand? I bill them. Well, the only problem is, and half the time with me is, that's London closed. That's not my problem. But I've waited 90 days on my money because what happens when you call up this attorney and you say, hey, you owe me. I can't go ask for these attorneys first if they're personal. They're not going to give it to me. They're going to say, you're a peon and I'm not going to do that. So, I have to trust them. The problem is when I do that, I get burned. But if I start hassling them, they spread the word. So it hurts your business. And I try to be, hey, we're starting
Like
over here, what can you do? Well, let me close. That's our biggest problem is, how do you not run off with clientele by demanding your money that you worked hard for?
Well, you have to if you're going to extend credit. You have to. You're not going to run them off. You don't have to run them off. That's not what I'm saying. But I'll tell you right now, attorneys are the world's worst. The one thing that you can do whenever you get in a situation like that is, and I just did this last week, I had somebody that owes $20,000, and it's old. I just found and asked them, you have a lot of credit from your bank? They said, yeah. I said, well, what? We're not a bank. We need to operate. You owe this money. You've owed this money since April, We need our money. Go get your line of credit. And if they say, no, I don't, they say, well, can you talk to your banker? I keep asking questions about their banker. And If they say the bank turns their heads when I walk in the door, then you have a problem. The only other alternative, if you have MasterCard or Visa, and you say the 5%. And if you don't want to do the 5%, that's fine too.
We just started accepting, I didn't know anything about it, service processing fee.
Now, you don't have to do it. And you can waive that. If it means whether or not you're going to get your money, then forfeit the 5%, just to make sure you get the money. Because and then you have a real big problem if they tell you they've maxed out their credit cards, because that's how they started their business. You know what you do then? Collections. Don't even hesitate. I mean, I've had one account that actually told me they moved into a studio. Went through divorce, going through divorce, and I feel for them, and I hate that situation happened to them, but they maxed out their credit cards. That's how they started their business. That's not the way to start a business. You've got to be careful in analyzing it, and even though you feel for that person and you'd really like to see them come out of the hole, if you've waited, you've given them plenty of chances, and especially if they tell you they're going to do something and they don't.
Because I carried $25,000
And the other thing you can do too is if they tell you they're going to mail the check on, today's Friday, they're going to tell you they're going to mail the check on Tuesday. Today, send them a reminder letter saying this is a notice or whatever, and then make a notation like somebody else made a notation on that reminder letter and put the date. Talk to Sally. We'll mail check on Tuesday. Almost like it's not you. You're the one to talk to them, but somebody else automatically sends out these reminder letters, and they have a little note down here. Sally said they're going to mail it on Tuesday, and it kind of removes you out of that. And they're going to get it by Tuesday, and there's no excuse.
The problem is not getting the money in it. They don't want to pay it. Yeah, right. Maybe she could make an agreement and send it to them and ask them to sign it, that they would still pay you even if they or they'll say, well, the title was bad stuff, so they couldn't buy the house. Well, that's why you hired me to do it. Because you want to still charge them. So, I mean, the biggest problem is to get attorneys to pay their bills.
Okay. The other thing, do you charge interest?
No, because oh God, they fall out and die. They would.
Well,
Better than the
but sending them a separate interest charge, just let it see it piling up, get their attention. I mean, you may not collect it, but you're using all the tools that you can possibly use to try to collect your collections. Anytime you deal with granting credit, there's some risk involved, and that's not saying even if you're the best collector there is, you cannot predict the future of somebody. You may have an account that's paid you perfect for 5 years, and you got a salesperson saying they're going to come out of this, they're going to come out of this. Good accounts go bad. And you've got to be able to recognize that. I mean, it can happen. I mean, look at all of these big corporations that downsize or finally end up going in bankruptcy. It happens. So you're going to have some risk there, but you've got to do everything you possibly can do. But you've also got to have the right information on file. If you have to turn them over for collection, even a collection agency is not going to be able to collect if you can't give them a phone number, an address, or a social security number, or something for them to have a lead on. Because if you don't provide the information, even a collection agency, and they have all the equipment in the world, and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment to track people down, but you've still got to give them some kind of information.
Maybe could you suggest on your billing department, could you put a name on your bill, have you take these notes to go in there?
Exactly. Have it on your invoice. And highlight it. And if you don't want, if you would rather see getting the money and just waive the 5% or the 3%, whatever you want to charge the processing fee, you can put it on there. And then when you call them for the invoice, then they say, well, I don't want to pay that fee. So, well, I'll waive it or we'll split it or something like that. Then you can kind of do a little negotiating at that point. Having it on there and having your terms are real important.
So could you then, if they say they want to waive it, you say that while they can take it in 30 days to waive it?
If you're not going to collect, and the only way you're going to collect is waiving it, and you've done everything else you can do, you've sent them reminder notices, you've called them time after time again, waiving that collection, processing fee is the best thing you can do, because, and especially if money, she's dealing with attorneys. If you're dealing with the business, if they're having that much problem, they could be gone tomorrow. And that's another thing I want to bring up. When you're talking about bankruptcy, some people may say within 90, they may say, oh, I'm going to file bankruptcy, or I'll file bankruptcy. You haven't got a notice from the attorney. I want your attorney's name and phone number. Don't let them just tell you that they filed for bankruptcy without getting notice. Okay, sometimes they use that as a bluff. But now, if they have filed for bankruptcy within 90 days, let's say they filed today, okay, but you have collected money on the account 90 days prior. Anytime 90 days prior, you may have to give that money back. That's why it's important to try to see warning signs long before a 90-day period. You can only wait so long to collect your money. And that's why I'm saying if you cannot collect your money in 120 days, you need to analyze that account and see if there's no likelihood of telling, you need to turn them over for collection or something, because if they file within another 3 months, then any money that you get, they're going to turn you in as one of their creditors, and you have to give it back. Unless they forget about it, but now if it's a COD, don't worry about that. COD, that's yours to keep, but if it's payment on the account within 90 days, that's why I always look at warning signs early. If you can do more business with that customer to get them to pay, if you think they're kind of they're on a downward trend, that you can say, oh, well, they're probably not going to last for another year, but you think you can get your money before that, I get more sales. I will say, look, is there anything that you need from me right now? Do you need $500 worth of merchandise? If you need $500 worth of merchandise, I tell you what, can you give me $1,000? We'll put that on 30 days and we'll apply that $1,000 to the owner. We're not going to make a COD. Even though they're COD, you're not really telling them they're COD, but your account is coming down. Their account's coming down $500. You put it on 30. The age is catching up. They think, oh, you're working with me. Nobody will do that for me. But you're getting, you're basic. If they don't have, when you start initiating this arrangement, if they don't have enough more than $500, go ahead and work with them that time. Go ahead and say, okay, I'll tell you what. This time, because we want to keep your doors open. And we don't want you going to somebody else and giving the money to another competitor. We want you coming back here. We want to work with you. So this time, let's go ahead and give you your $500 worth of merchandise. We'll put that order on 30 days. We'll apply that $500 to your oldest invoices. Okay? So that helps them. But now next time, let's try to work on bringing that balance down. And before you know it, if you can keep getting orders from them, especially if you can get orders from them every week, you keep getting the orders and calling them. If you don't hear from them for a couple of weeks, call them and say, look, how's business? Can we do anything for you? Be careful, though, if you've ever gotten an intercept check from them. You can still do that, but if you've gotten an intercept check from them, then put them on cash. Call them ahead of time, though, because if you've got to make a delivery, call them, give them 24 hours to get to the bank to get that $1,000 for you. Okay, but then before you know it, they don't owe you anything. They'll call you and they'll go, well, we'll tell you what, how much do I owe now? Well, you're down from 5,000 to 500. Really? So let's go ahead and clean it up this time. So they clean it up, you get your order, your shipping order paid for, and they owe you nothing. And then you keep it that way. Unless they can give you, and usually right after that, after you've cleaned it up, they're still having some financial bind. But let's say a year down the road, they're still in business, and they're on an upswing, then ask them for another financial statement, ask them for credit references again, so you can start all over. You're dealing with someone that takes pride in their business. They're in the business. They're not out playing golf. They do have an interest. That's their livelihood. Be careful if you've got somebody that's not on top of their business. If they're out and about and never there, and you never can get them, there's a problem there somewhere. They don't care about their business. They want other people to operate it for them. Okay. We kind of got started on that. That was the business with no prior history. That was the credit analysis on that. So let's talk about analyzing a credit application. Once you get your information, then you've got to compile everything. The one thing I want to mention to you on a credit application that I didn't talk about a minute ago, and I know that someone did lose about $42,000 because they didn't have this on theirs. They had state business was established, and they put 30 years on there, but the guy did not have date under current ownership and happened to be a new owner, and he did some graphic work for $42,000, was a new owner. On my credit applications, if I see it blank, they'll put on there, maybe put 30, they give them 30 years in business, but that under current ownership is blank. I call them and I say, you stay under current ownership. They may say 30 years, and they may say the same, or they may say 6 months. The other thing that if they leave that blank and you start doing a credit check, and they've been in this for 30 years, and all their references come back saying they opened this account 6 months ago, and you've got 3 to 5 references, and they're all recent. That's another thing I do. I'll call them up, and I'll say, I don't understand. You've been in this for 30 years, and all of a sudden, just in the last 6 months, you're asking for credit. And then they steal their guts. They just took over. So I always make sure you get that credit application. But now we're going to talk about how do we analyze it. Don't go there. This is an account that has an unstable financial statement. That's, remember the 2-to-1 ratio that I was telling you about? They owe as much as their assets are, or they pay 60 days or more slow. Now, you can't take this out of context because some people they've been in business for 50 years and they consistently pay 60 days slow. You have an account that says they pay 15 or 30 days slow all the time, but they've been in business for a long time and they've been dealing with their creditors, and this is how they pay all of them, and they paid it like that for 30 years. It's not saying it's bad, but if you notice that they are starting to pay slower, all of a sudden they're taking it 90 days, 20 days, and you notice over a 2 to 3 month span, there's something wrong. You may call them up, you can ask the salesperson, you can say, what's going on, The salesperson say, well, I was by there a couple of weeks ago. I said, well, was there people there? What's going on? Well, they're expanding their business. So guess what? Maybe they're opening up a location, they've knocked out a wall, all their money's going to that, and they're not paying you. There's usually something wrong when an account has been consistently 30 days slow, and all of a sudden they start getting owed. And they can be in business for 30 years. So you can't really take it out of context, but this is one of the warning signs. Another thing is record of NSFs. You don't want to be dealing with somebody that's constantly giving post-dated checks and they're constantly NSFs. I've dealt with people that have given NSFs for 2 years, and they went under. Eventually, they may do that for, get post-dated checks for 2 years, 3 years, but eventually they can't continue operating like that. They're probably depending totally on a line of credit. Line of credit from the bank is wonderful, but you can't operate a business all the time on a line of credit. That line of credit is for backup. If you get a contract with the state or something like that, that is where that line of credit comes in. But you need to collect all your other accounts so that you do have some cash to operate on. Other thing is no capital. If they're putting $2,000 in the business and they want you to give them 10, that's not fair to you. So make sure that they have some risk. If this business doesn't work, they're going to lose too. So you want to make sure that you understand how much money they're putting up too. All right. And this is a good one. Slick Eddie and Joe Bob. I want to tell you right now, Slick Eddie and Joe Bob, you might want to get your pens out. See, I've got these pens right here. Just make sure that they're right, because we got a lot to say about these guys. These guys move around a lot. Today they're in Mississippi. Tomorrow they're going to be in Texas. Yesterday they were somewhere else. So they don't like to stay in one place. They like to move around. They expand too quickly. Statistics show that in 2 to 5 years, a business will go under if they expand too quickly. That's one of the main reasons of failure. So make sure that you look at everything. If they boast because they say, oh, in the next year or next 2 years, I'm going to have 5 other businesses. That's boasting, and you just like, hey, that's not great. That's scary to me, but they're boasting. So that's one of the things you want to look at. They don't understand your terms. You've shipped them something out, and they go, well, I don't understand. What does 1% 10 net 30 mean? Or what does 1/2 30, 1/2 60 mean? I mean, you know, you're taking $500 and splitting into 2 payments. Come on, guys. I mean, they've been in business, you know, especially they've been in business for a long time. They're trying to tell you they don't know what 30-day terms mean. That means it's due 30 days from invoice date. You know, so don't let them through. They'll say, well, I just paid according to what I think. I'm going to pay you in 60 days. Now, if you want to do that, there are some big corporations that'll say that. They'll say, we pay our bills on the 10th of every month. And if they're big enough and they're good enough and you want to do business with them and that's what they do and you feel comfortable with it, then you can accept that. And it's outside of your normal terms, but don't stray from your normal terms, but do make exceptions. There's always exceptions to the rule. This is still Slick Eddie and Joe Bob, y'all. Make sure y'all's pens are still writing. They always have shipping problems. They always have billing problems. You know, they should have gotten a 10% discount whenever it was upon delivery. Or there's always something wrong with the invoice. They pay 60 days or more slow, or they just pay on time. Let's say they owe you $5,000. You have an invoice for $1,243.60. And what do? They send you $500. That is a fine. You know, you got to call them up. Don't be satisfied with that $500 if it's due. Call them up and say, where's my other $700-something? You know, when can I expect payment? And the other thing, these accounts payable people are really good. They will say, I'm going to cut the check on Friday. Does anybody know what that means? Does anybody? Yeah. Say, when are you going to mail it? You going to mail it Friday? You going to mail it Friday afternoon? You going to mail it about 5 o'clock? Yeah. Or you going to mail it on Monday? Get a specific answer from them. Don't let them say, I'm cutting checks. Cutting checks today.
Realtors to tell them to go ahead and get the check number so you put it on the reference.
Yeah,
And
you
then
can do
come by and pick it
that.
up.
Well, you know what I do too? They'll give me check numbers. I say, I don't care about that. I don't care about check number. When you mail it. How much are you mailing? Yeah, because they'll use that too. They'll use a little check number, number on you too. So, they don't deal with banks. Has anybody ever dealt with anybody that does cash all the time? You know, there are people out there that have food with bankruptcy. They don't want they don't want a paper trail. They were in Texas. They filed bankruptcy. They've been in Mississippi, and they filed. Of course, you have to wait so many years, but they don't want anybody to track them, so they don't deal with that. I've come across people like that. And they laugh at people that give them credit. Yeah. So be cautious of that. We're still on Slick Eddie and Joe Bob, yeah. Lots of record of NSFs, poor credit history, business or personal. This is when I was talking about the personal financial statement. If they've got a bankruptcy on there, stay away. People in bankruptcy, personal bankruptcy, do open businesses all the time. Somebody's shaking their head. Always unavailable. Has anybody ever tried calling somebody during regular business hours that have regular business hours like you and they're never there? Well, let me tell you what you do. You call long before business hours. If they open at 8, call at 6. If they close at 5, call them at 7. They always come out at night. So, Linda, it works. Yeah, and the other thing that might be interesting too, if you're trying to track down somebody, the internet has, if they're a corporation, you look at your credit application and they close and you track them. You pull up the site, like Louisiana Secretary of State. If they're a corporation, they're going to be listed. Most likely, they'll have their home address. You won't get your phone number, but all you got to do is call the corporate division, and they'll say, yes, this is their phone number. Or you can find out if they're not in Baton Rouge, it's a business in Baton Rouge, you can find out usually if it's outside of Baton Rouge, then you can call directory assistance. That's one way you can kind of get some information if you're trying to track somebody.
First thing that would happen to me, and I've been in business 9 years, if something when I missed, I didn't even know it.
That's where contact, like calling them and staying close
I'm calling her
in
almost
touch.
every Thursday, and she sends me little bits.
That's good, as long as
But
they're...
like I said, still it ain't all completely paid.
Yeah. Well, that's where having that personal information on your credit application, and if you have to go to Gonzales, if they're close enough, go to Gonzales, knock on their door, depending on how much money we're talking about. Now, small claims court, you can file small
My
claims
husband
and,
said this is almost all his life, when I didn't get paid.
yeah.
So that's what my husband did, was blood related.
Small claims, I think they're increasing that $2,000 to $2,500, which is better because I know I get stuck with a lot of $2,300, so like a little bit over 2,000, so that's something, another alternative.
It's 5,000.
Well, we could really do some business with small claims court with that.
And I have.
God, okay, well I guess 2,500 is better than 2,000 here. Also, they don't know what a financial statement is. Everybody has to have something they got to turn in. So they, even if you provide them with a little simplified form, like how much cash do you have and how many bills do you have, just provide them with something. If they don't know what a financial statement is, then they're not real business coherent. Lack of business skills. They don't know anything about the business that they're in. Like don't know what they're selling. I mean. So there's people that go into something that without working at a place that will help them understand what they're selling. They just go into it hoping they can learn as they go along. It's dangerous. Now, this is an account that's new. This is new and may be good to have a good business background. Remember I talked about the sales manager or the manager of a store that worked for 10 years. If they have a good business background, there's nothing wrong with that. They're new. They have a business plan. They have something in writing. They take care of personal finances. That's where you can get them from a credit bureau report. If you're not members of the credit bureau, ask them to do it. They're going to need it anyway if they're trying to get credit from other vendors. You don't have to pay for that. And there's a financial commitment. That's one way that they put some money into the business and not expecting all their creditors to put them in business. Because you're not a bank. Oh, goodness, okay. We're getting close here. Oops. This is a fair account. Financial statement is not 2-to-1, but it's not bad. They pay 15 to 30 days slow. They're well known in the community. They've been in business at least 3 years. They're active. They're not out playing golf. They know what's going on in their company. They need more time occasionally. Sometimes they go into a little cash flow problems. You do kind of have to watch those accounts. I always need an invoice. All the time. I always need an invoice. Sometimes at one account I start sending 2 invoices to 2 different envelopes, so I said somebody's going to get it. So that's just, but they're still okay.
Do you find that you get more money to fill out twice a month?
The more you bill out, the more you remind them of you. Then yes, if it takes a little extra time, but yes, it does help. Sending a statement helps. Sending a statement. It's a reminder. It's a reminder. Establishing good. They've been in business for at least 5 years. They discount or they pay on time. They've been in the community. Everybody knows them. They don't, they'd be embarrassed if they went under. They're very organized. They're in the store every day. Strong financial statement, and they're very conscientious of their credit. Slow but good. These are people that have money and like to hang on to it. They'll take it to the grave with them, but they've been in business for at least 15 years. They do have money. They are well known. They pay 30 to 45 days, and this is where the consistent is what I'm talking about. It's a good account, and they pay everybody for the last 30 years 15, 30 days slow, all the time. They may or may not take unearned discounts. If you offer a discount, they don't, and they pay it in 60 days. They've done that with everybody. They said, this is how you're going to do business with me. You can leave that discount on there, and it's going to rot. Don't give it to them. But they're good. So sometimes you got to make amends for those accounts. There's no NSF records. They've got cash. It's just hard to get your money. Talk with the warning signs real quick. Payment pattern changes. This is what I'm telling you. They consistently pay a certain 30 days slow, and all of a sudden 2 or 3 months go by, and then they start to really pay more than that slow. That's a warning sign. And this is just one warning sign, okay? You got to kind of take it in, don't take it out of context. NSFs. What do? You check with the bank to see if it'll clear. If it'll clear, it's local. Go to the bank and get a cashier's check made payable to your company. If that's how the check was written. Don't hesitate to do that if you can have access to that bank. And send a demand letter if you can't. Don't wait 3 days and send it, have it on a form so you can spit it out just like that. Also, promises to pay become more frequent. If they tell you something 3 times, they're not honest. They tell you the same thing, they're going to mail a check, and that's a warning sign. And talk to your information, get as much information as you can. Ask them what's wrong. You know, what's going on with your company? Find out. You know, there's nothing wrong with you. They owe you money. Inform your salesperson immediately. Let them know what's going on. You don't want to be having a little, tug of war there from the credit and sales, and the salesperson goes in there and they don't know that you've had a confrontation with them because they're not paying their bills. So let the salesperson know what's going on. Also, reduce their credit line. This is how you ship them. You ship them and you get more than what you're shipping. Credit card, ask them for a credit card, and ask them for that line of credit from the bank. Avoiding calls. You can locate the home address and number. I told you how you can do that if they're a corporation. Or on your credit application, reduce their line of credit, and you can pick up merchandise. And you don't want to do that sometimes, but sometimes it's your only alternative if you don't think they're getting ready to go into bankruptcy. And the end is practice good habits. Keep very detailed notes. If somebody's giving you 2 NSF checks and they give you another one, you say, well, at the third one, we call it the end. They can't take a check anymore. They go, I didn't do that. Well, you can go back and say, well, last year you gave me check number so-and-so, this amount, and it just blows them away. But you have detailed information, and they realize they can't pull the wool over your eyes. Also, keep a record of them. Send reminder letters. I mentioned that to you earlier. When they say they're going to pay on Tuesday, go ahead and send them a little note so they don't forget. Also, inform your salesperson, inform your management and your salesperson whenever you've continuously tried to collect and you're having a problem, let your salesperson help you because they a lot of times have a special relationship with that customer and they might be able to do something to help you. Also get credit updates. If I'm having a slow paying account, an account that starts to slow pay me, I pull a credit application, I do an update on those references, and I'll find out a lot of information, and I've got to collect mine real quick now. So it kind of gives you an indication that you need to move quickly. Always, if it's $1,200 a due, don't ask them, well, can you send me 5 at least? Always tell them what to do, even though you know you're not going to get the full amount. Start high and then negotiate. Okay? Keep the lines of communication open. The more you are involved with that customer and servicing that customer and keeping their doors open, you're going to get paid a lot quicker. The squeaky wheel will get paid. So don't hesitate to pick up the call and do it within about 10 days, at least 10 days when it's due. That's when you need to start calling. Sometimes you may call 3 to 5 times a month. So don't forget that. If they tell you that they're going to mail a check on Tuesday and you haven't gotten it by Friday or Monday, call them back and say, did you mail that on Tuesday? I just thought maybe you'd be concerned because, we hadn't gotten it yet. So I hope that this has been very informative. I hope that I didn't have to go over it too quickly. I did want to kind of cram a lot into just an hour. So if you have any questions after the class, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you. Okay. Can I ask y'all, just whenever before you leave, if you want mine, just kind of give me an idea if there's anything else that you...
Do we need to fill that out now or can we drop it off later?
You can drop it off later. It's fine. Appreciate it.
Thank you.